Freedom. Hi guys, welcome back to Fort Awesome. My name is Alex and I'm glad you're here with me. So congratulations on surviving the month of April and getting through lockdown level 4. High five. It was a really hard month for everybody. So we're now at level 3 with our lockdown and I wonder if any of you guys are going back to school yet. Sitting here in Fort Awesome, it's starting to get a bit colder as winter's approaching. And I wonder how long it will be until our bears go into hibernation. But our bear is still out on our driveway. Let's have a look. Today, our bear is on a tricycle or a chariot, and that might play a part in our story later. I've said several times that I like learning new things. And yesterday I learned a new word. It is an ancient Scottish word, and the word is Luke, or as the Scottish might say, Luke. Now, the word Luke, which is L-E-U-K, means in English the joy of going outside after being confined inside for some time, which I think is really fitting for us now. So, do you feel Lukey? Now it's time for what's in the bin. What do you think is in my bin today? Good guess, but today it is in fact some popcorn. Third time lucky. Do you know how many different senses you have? You have 5. You have the sense of touch, got the sense of smell, the sense of sight, sense of hearing, and sense of taste. Those are the classical senses that we talk about. But actually there's more. You have things like the sense of balance and a sense of hunger or thirst. You have a sense of air pressure. You have a sense of pain. And some people have a sense of humour. So classically we say you have 5 senses, but we have probably a bit more than 17 senses in total. Now with something like popcorn, you can see it, you can smell it. Smell that. It's good. Okay. You can hear it when it's popping in the microwave. You can touch it and you can taste it. So what I need you to do now is pause the video, go make some popcorn and share it with your family, and then come back and listen to the story. If you don't have any popcorn at home, I'll share this with you. Here you go. You can find this story in the Old Testament. It's in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 6. Many years ago, the Syrians were enemies of Israel, and they wanted to destroy God's people. God, who knows everything, knew the secret plans of the enemy, and he gave the prophet Elisha, who we've talked about before, the miraculous ability to hear the king's plans. Every time that the Syrians made a plan to attack the Israelites, Elisha heard what their plan was, told his king, the king of Israel, and Israel was then able to avoid all the tricks and traps and ambushes that the Syrians set for them. The king of Syria's frustration grew every time that the Israelites escaped. The king questioned even his own trusted servants, demanding to find out who is the spy amongst you. None of us, they said. It's Elisha, that prophet in Israel. He tells their king everything that you say, even the words you say in your bedroom. The king was furious. Go and find out where Elisha is so that I can capture him. So when the king found out where Elisha was staying, he sent a large number of soldiers and horses and chariots after him. In the middle of the night, the soldiers surrounded the city. The next morning when Elisha's servant Gehazi woke up and went outside, he couldn't believe his eyes. What? I must be dreaming, he thought. Everywhere he looked around the city, there were the enemy soldiers, the enemy horses, the enemy chariots. They were surrounded. Gehazi's heart sank in fear. He ran back inside. Elisha! Elisha! Wake up! Wake up! We're surrounded. The enemy is here. There's no escape. There's nowhere we can go. We're doomed. Elisha could see the fear in Gehazi's face. Don't worry, Elisha said calmly. There are more mighty warriors fighting for us than all of those against us. Elisha and Gehazi went back outside, and Gehazi could see nothing but the enemy. But Elisha calmly prayed, and he prayed, "Dear God, please open the eyes of Gehazi so he can see what's going on around us." Then God opened Gehazi's eyes, and he could see all around them a heavenly army with horses and chariots of fire. They were not alone after all. The army of God was there to protect them. But the army of Syria couldn't see the heavenly army, and so they charged and attacked the city, and Elisha, "Charge!" But Elisha kept on calmly praying, and he prayed, "Dear God, please blind the enemy." So God blinded the Syrian army, just as Elisha had prayed for. And in their blindness, the Syrian army dropped their swords and stumbled around in confusion. Elisha said to the blind soldiers, "I can help you. You're even in the wrong city. I can lead you to the guy who you were supposed to find." And so he led the blind soldiers to the king of Israel, where they became his prisoners. The king wanted to kill the enemy soldiers, but on the advice of Elisha, the king showed the soldiers mercy. Elisha prayed, and the blindness was lifted from the soldiers' eyes, and they could see where they were, and they thought they were in trouble. They were surrounded by the army of Israel. But the king showed them mercy. He sat them down, gave them a big feast, and set them free to go back to Syria. And after that, the Syrians gave up attacking Israel for a while. Elisha and Gehazi were facing a lockdown, and they had two different reactions. Now, when we look outside, we won't see a big army surrounding us, about to attack us. But we all know what it's like to have problems that are beyond our control, even life-threatening problems like we see in the news. When that happens, we can either be like Gehazi or like Elisha. We can feel the panic that we are surrounded and things are beyond our control, or we can feel the peace knowing that God is with us and He will protect us. When I was reading that story again for myself yesterday, I was reminded of the fact that Jesus loved His enemies. I was blind, but now I see. I was hungry, but you fed me. I was a prisoner and you set me free. The Bible doesn't say that the soldiers were sent back to Syria with a message, but I'm sure they had a big one to tell everybody. So like some of my friends, Gehazi is one of those types of people who will only trust things that he can touch or hear himself or see with his own eyes. But Elisha is the type of person who trusted things beyond what he could touch or see or smell himself. He knew there was more than just the physical world. I've also attached for you down in the description a colouring page you can do about this week's story. One thing to remember during our lockdown is you don't shut God out. So now it's time for us to pray together. God, I just want to thank you that you looked after us and you protected us through level 4. I pray that you'll continue to protect us through level 3 and through the rest of this pandemic. Thank you, God, for loving us, looking after us, and never leaving us to face our battles on our own. Thank you, God, for being here with us. Amen. So that wraps up our time at Fort Awesome today. I'm glad you're here with me. And like always, there are 3 things I need you guys to go and do. First one is to be kind. Second one is to be safe. The third one is to go and wash your hands. See ya!